Hi, I'm Hair Jordan. So I've decided to delete my Patreon. I've had it for exactly 1 year. Started it last December 2016, and now I'm deleting it. And I guess I'll just tell you why. And part of me too is like, why are you deleting your Patreon? It's free money. People are willing to give you this money just because they like you and what you make. I guess it's stupid to delete Patreon. Like, I'm getting that $100, $200 every month for free just for doing what I already do, which is make videos and make music. But I've already told everyone who's pledged and donated to me on Patreon that I'm doing this, and I've emailed every single person personally and thanked them. But yeah, so Patreon was really cool. This year has been bad for YouTube. I started Patreon like a year ago, not because I needed the money, but because I was spending so much making videos. And then the algorithm changed for YouTube and it really hurt my channel, really hurt my earnings. I was still making enough to live though. I actually made a video about it and I showed the dollar amount of how much I made that week from ad revenue, and it had dropped significantly, but it was still enough for me to live because I used to make a lot of money from YouTube. Actually, I just rewatched it. I was like, dang, I forgot I used to make that much. But I also spent a lot. Like, in the video, I said that I spent $1,500 that month just on traveling and props, like disposable props that I broke in film, like intended on breaking for the videos. So not like $1,500 on a new camera, but like $1,500 just on like Uber, plane tickets, and stuff like that to go collab with other YouTubers. So when I started Patreon, I said in the video I was starting a Patreon to help fund that. And the idea behind it was like, I like making cool videos and collabing with other YouTubers, and I like spending money on videos when I can. So the idea was like, hey, let's do this together. If you guys want to pitch in on Patreon, and I'll use that money to make better videos. That was the idea behind it, Patreon was not to pay my bills. It was not to buy food for me. But I wanted to spend money on my channel. So that's why I started a Patreon. Then the adpocalypse happened a few months later. And then it was like, okay, I actually need this money to live on now, because then my ad revenue was not even close to enough to live on. And I said that too in the original Patreon video. I was like, maybe someday I'll need to use this money to live on, But for the beginning, I just wanted to use it to make my videos better. But then it turned into me actually like relying on the money as income, and I didn't like that. I don't know, maybe it's pride or something. I don't know. I just don't like relying on people giving me money to pay a bill. And it was never a lot either. Some YouTubers make like thousands every month from their Patreon. I did not. The most I ever made in a month was like $300, which is a lot. That's a lot of money. But most of the time, like now I make maybe $120 in a month from it. So it's not like a life-changing amount where it's like, I can live on that for a whole month. It's like, okay, I can pay my cell phone bill, buy some food or something like that with it. But I'm not a creator who lives off of Patreon, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But in the last year, I looked and I think I've gotten $2,500 donated through Patreon in the last 12 months, which is about $200 a month average, which is amazing. Like, that's incredible. That's really significant, And I was so thankful for it. But I want to delete my Patreon because I feel like I am not giving enough back to my patrons. I've done a really crappy job this year. I have had trouble keeping up with all the rewards for the pledges, and most people don't care. A lot of times I'll be late on delivering rewards, and I'm like, I'm sorry that I was late. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just got busy or something. I don't know. But most of you who were on my Patreon would reply and be like, it's okay. Honestly, I don't care about the rewards that much. I just like what you do and I want to support. So it was like, wow, okay, very understanding, and I appreciated the heck out of it. But I feel bad. Every month I get that $100, $150 or whatever deposited in my bank account from Patreon. I'm just like, I didn't do enough this month for Patreon. I didn't do enough. And every month it's eating away at me, and I just feel so guilty. I feel so bad. So I'm going through right now and leaving just like a personalized voicemail for every one of my Patreon supporters. Just for anyone who's ever donated anything on my Patreon at all, even just $1. I'm sending them a personal voicemail. Here's the list of, hey Jess, how's it going? This is Hair Jordan. Hey Jess, how's it going? This is Hair Jordan. I just wanted to, I have to delete that. It didn't sound very genuine. Like, I want to thank everyone I want to be very grateful, but I don't want to sound fake where I'm like, thank you so much. It's like, I want to be real, but I also want to show that I'm appreciative. Fuck, I saved it. Some of these I've recorded like 5 times. I get to know some of you guys. And so I want to be personal. I want to make sure it doesn't sound like I'm reading off of a script or anything, which I'm not. But when I say basically the same thing to every person, it can sound like it's scripted. And so I have to snap out of it. This is Jess. Jess? I'm just really bad at talking to people. I don't know if I'm bad at it or not, but I feel like I'm bad at it. Hey Jess, what's up? This is Hair Jordan. I just wanted, so now I just send this to her email and I type a little personal message. I'll do that here in a second when I put this. When I started, I was so intimidated. I was so nervous to like do that right there, to leave a like personal voicemail for like one person at a time. It just made me so freaking nervous. Yeah, it's just crazy to me that people have supported me every single month, you know? It's like, why? I feel like I should be giving you way more value than you're giving me. That's how I like to do things. And if I feel like I'm not, and some of the exit surveys say it too. A couple of people have left feedback and they're like, yeah, you didn't really give what you said you were going to give, you know, or you weren't very engaging. You just kind of suck at this. And I was so glad to read that because it was honest critique. Like, you're totally right. I sucked at Patreon and I am so sorry. And so that's why I'm stopping. I guess it was just never a priority for me. You know, I was living in LA when I started it. So rent was really expensive, and it was like I couldn't even pay a third of my rent, you know, with my entire Patreon. So it was like, okay, I was more focused on the bigger stuff like paying rent. And so I just kind of like, Patreon was just like an afterthought, and I never wanted to be like that. If I was one of these YouTubers who gets a couple thousand a month from Patreon, that would be different because you can live on that way more than you even need just from Patreon. And then it becomes more like, okay, I'm all about Patreon because it's paying my bills. But after the adpocalypse, it wasn't like that for me. It was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills this month. And it was like that every single month for several months. And yeah, Patreon was there and it was like, okay, cool, I could pay my cell phone bill and go buy a cheeseburger or something, but I still need to figure out how I'm going to come up with my rent money. And so that's where my energy was going. I wanted to put my energy into Patreon first, not my leftover energy, which is what it turned into. And I'm sorry, and I feel bad, and that's why I'm shutting it down. I did go and thank everyone. So I spent like 4 hours doing it. It took a very long time, but I wanted to make sure everyone knew that I appreciated them. Even people who pledged and their card got declined, and so they never actually even donated a single dollar to me, I still sent them a thank you voicemail because they made the effort to at least create an account and pledge on Patreon, even if their card was declined or even if they canceled and stopped donating or never donated at all. They at least made the effort to go follow me on Patreon, and I really appreciated that. So I made sure to thank every single person. It took forever, but that's why I'm shutting down my Patreon. I'm just not doing it right. In the future, I may start Patreon up again, but if I do, I need to do it right. I need to make sure that there are rewards that I can fulfill every month consistently and not feel like I'm just like letting people down constantly because I'm having trouble keeping up with the reward system that I set up. So that was it. That was a big part of it, you know. I mean, I just spent like 4 hours. What time is it? Probably more than that, actually. Oh, yeah. I spent more than 4 hours thanking everyone. Sitting down and doing something for 4 hours is a big commitment. And I just would always have other big commitments that were more of a priority because the other commitments were what was paying my rent, you know? You know what I'm saying? So by the end of it, I'm like, oh, Patreon, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I never did it. And so I just need to shut it down. I just need to focus on making YouTube videos and making music. That's what I love. That's what I want to do. I moved out of LA because I don't want to have to make money every month in that large of an amount. I moved somewhere cheaper where I can actually afford to live off of my YouTube and music earnings again, like I used to, you know, and I don't have to stress so much. So that way I can be like, okay, I don't have to spend all my time and energy figuring out how I'm going to make rent this month. I can actually afford it with like my YouTube earnings if I don't spend too much, which is amazing. And this is what I want to do. So I decided to shut down my Patreon, even though it's like free money and nobody cares if I even fill the rewards, or at least the people who are still there. But I don't want to do that. To me, I feel like I couldn't respect myself if I continue doing that because it just eats away at me every month. I will possibly do Patreon again when I'm ready to, but in the meantime, I'm not going to be doing Patreon. I deleted it already, or actually, no, I haven't. I stopped on this page right here. Are you sure you want to disable your Patreon account? This action cannot be reversed. This is for my Hair Jordan account right here. Yes, disable my account. Oh, sign up, log in. I'm done. What happens if I type in patreon.com/Hair Jordan? Oh no, it looks like you got lost. There is no Hair Jordan Patreon anymore. It's gone. I deleted it. So yeah, there you have it. Deleted my Patreon after 12 months, 1 year. And that's why. And you know, now I probably could do it and do just fine because I'm starting to get more stable. The last few months have just been crazy for me personally. The last like half a year has just been crazy for me in my personal life and also like moving and trying to find, in LA, it was so expensive to have even a shared room with other people. And so I didn't have like my own like desk where I could just work, you know? And it was so frustrating for me because that's essential to what I do. I need to have a desk where I can sit down and edit, or I can sit down and reply to messages on Patreon or emails or make something special. And I just haven't had that in like the last half year, and it's kind of sucked and it's been hard. But now that now I don't live in LA anymore, so I can actually have like my own space. Like this is my desk. I never have to pack it up and leave at the end of the day like I do at Starbucks or something. I can sit down here and work every day. And I don't have to worry about where am I going to set up my computer today. I don't have to worry about that. So I probably could have actually continued Patreon at this point. I should have deleted it a long time ago. But I didn't. I just wanted to delete it. And if I ever do it again, I'll start fresh. And maybe I will. But I know I need to rethink it and do it in a way that's rewarding to everyone else, but also something I can fulfill. Because I don't want to be the guy who's like, yo, sign up for my Patreon, and then I don't do anything and I just get the donations and I don't give anything back to you guys of value. And I guess I have. I've released a couple songs. That was what I released one song that I haven't even released to the public yet. And that was like 2 months ago. And early stuff, but still, I felt like it wasn't enough though, still. I think last month I didn't do anything. I didn't even post on Patreon. And that's when it was like, okay, I didn't even post once on Patreon. That's it. Like, that's just unacceptable to me. By my own standard, that's unacceptable. I cannot let myself be that way. So had to stop, had to delete it. So yeah, that's it. That's my little spiel on Patreon. I do think Patreon is a great way to support creators. And if you were supporting me on Patreon and now you're not because I deleted it, feel free to support another creator. If you want to use whatever you pledge to me, use it on somebody else, that's fine. That's great. I think that's great. And if not, if you just want to use that money for yourself, that's great too. That's your money. Keep it. Put it in your wallet or under your bed or throw it in Bitcoin. Who knows? I don't know. Anyways, just thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. But overall, Patreon is a great platform. The only thing I didn't like about Patreon is that in my mind, I was like, I should be putting my best effort into Patreon to people who support me, which I should be because they're pledging and they're donating to me every month. The problem with that I felt was that by doing that, by focusing all my attention on 20 or 30 people, I'm neglecting the other 5, 10,000 people who watch my channel regularly just to pay attention to 25 people, you know? And for me, that was always difficult to accept because it's like my social media is what I wanted to focus on more because that's public and I can also gain new followers that way. And really that's how I prefer to make my money is through ad revenue because that's how I used to make before the ad boycott and everything, which things are starting to get better. Things have been getting better, but they're definitely not where they were. Not even close. They're just a small fraction of what they used to be still. But I don't know. I guess there was like a mental barrier there where I just couldn't do it. And also it was a habit. There was no habit there. Like I never got in a routine of like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to check Patreon. You know, I don't do that. Like I get up, check Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube comments, but Patreon was just like one too many. There was one too many, I feel like. And I couldn't keep up with Patreon. It's great if you can focus the attention to it, if people like it. If you do it right, it can work really well. I feel like I didn't do it right. And I was not happy about it. I was not satisfied about it. I have to be happy with what I do and the way I do things. And I was not happy with the way I was doing my Patreon. So anyways, that's it. That's my spiel. If you're a creator and you want to use Patreon, I do have an affiliate link down below. You can click to sign up and make your own Patreon account and invite people. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all the viewers, all the love and support. You guys have been there for me this past year, 2 years that I've been doing YouTube. Sometimes my videos are good and my music is good and it's all good and it's cool. And sometimes my videos suck. And sometimes I have personal issues going on and then I suck at doing this and you guys have still stuck with me through it and that really means a lot. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I will talk to you later. Bye.